Hello there, this is Critical from Critical Media, just taking a look at the 2022 Omnibus release of Star Wars The Empire, collecting Legends material from 2005 up until 2013. And what we usually do at this channel is give you an idea of what to expect if you ever come across this book in the wild. So we go over the exterior, some bonus material, art and plot points, and then a brief review at the end. Just before jumping in though, when I did the Darth Vader Kieran Gillen run, I had mentioned how I wasn't too much of a fan of the Charles Soule follow-up, which kind of takes place in the same era as this set of tales here. But where I feel Charles Soule had good plot points but poor execution and art, this knocks it out of the park in every way. But I guess I'll get to that a little bit later with the art and plot point section. In terms of the exterior, we have this awesome cover art here from Suneo Sanda. And in that light, this is from the Darth Vader Lost Command story. So very prominent, very effective, that's for sure. In terms of the spine, I like this red lettering here, I guess to differentiate between canon and legends. Very appreciative. And I have noticed that they use this design on the back for one of the Epic collections, so I like the consistency in that sense. But underneath the dust jacket, we have this nice, very imposing wraparound image. So yes, it is your traditional Vader. If you're wondering why is it all Vader-centric, it's because, well, a lot of the material in this does deal with the first 6 months, and it does have a lot of, overlap with the Charles Soule. That's why I'm even doing this in the first place. But with at least bonus material now, I will admit, I was hoping for more interviews or whatnot from the creatives, but in this case, we're getting a lot of cover art. But hey, it ain't bad if it's Doug Wheatley or Suneo Sanda kind of thing. I'm happy with that. Probably my favorite bonus material here, but unfortunately it's a two-page spread, so you will miss a little bit of it here. But yeah, the closest you'll get is maybe just an afterword, but the rest of it is pretty much just black and white prints, not even pencil work, but just omitting the colorist joining the fray. But yeah, otherwise I guess I was maybe a little too hopeful on the interview idea. Now because this series, or should I say this book, collects a lot of material, it's I guess wise to show you guys the table of contents this time around, because I like the way Marvel at least decided to map out the book. So you'll see stories like 2005, but then it'll jump to like 2012 and then back to the 2007 or whatever. And they do this more so for the sake of the flow of the story, because the events still happen in exactly the same order. So I definitely appreciate Marvel going in that light. And probably the first issue is probably one of the smartest, because it kind of sets the tone for, or should I say the atmosphere of where we're reading here, right? So it is really the early days of the Empire where Republic officers are transitioning to Imperial. And yeah, they're just getting that crash course in how ruthless the Empire can be. There's really no space for weakness here. So it kind of uses this deserter story as a way of, kind of making you a vehicle into the, I guess, kind of the plot, or should I say the kind of whims of the era. So definitely on point. Very smart decision, I'll just say that much. But yeah, probably the real reason why I'm here is for John Ostrander. Man, this is hands down my single favorite issue of Star Wars ever made. And it's by John Ostrander and Doug Wheatley. And let's just put it this way, I've owned this book in so many different ways. This is one of the few books I actually have a floppy of. That's how much I love it. And it's kind of showing that, yeah, in just a small story, it tells so much and explains so much. The propaganda of the Empire, where Vader somehow hunted down all the Jedi. The reason why Jedi don't go after him so easily. It's just so damn good. It's menacing. It's cruel. It's almost passive. It almost wants to give you a little bit of hope. But man, when you see this man walking through and he shows up, man, it's one of the best introductions ever. Or entrances, I should say, ever. Man, it's so good. And even the overkill aspect of it. So, man, I can't help but love this issue. Single greatest issue of Star Wars in my opinion. That's just me. But man, it was followed up by Haden Blackman as well, doing his version of Purge, but with this awesome art that definitely follows it. And Haden Blackman, I always felt, nailed Vader's mythos very well. Like, he understood his manias, he understood his rage very well. I always thought that was one of his greatest gifts. Definitely don't want to turn the page because of what happens there. But either way, very on point. And once again, I guess Star Wars, they noticed Haden Blackman was pretty special there. By the way, if you haven't already noticed, Haden Blackman is the same man who spearheaded the whole Force Unleashed story, the video games with Starkiller. So kind of makes sense because of how well Vader was written in that game. So how perfect is he here? And this Lost Command story, which in a nutshell is about Tarkin's son going missing and Vader being sent out to go get him. I love this story because of how it shows you that Vader lives two lives. He lives a perfect life in his mind of the way things should have been, and then he is always struck by the harsh reality right after. And man, oh man, so damn good. I almost want to talk about plot points here, but a part of this story is how surprisingly, well, how surprising it actually is. Like, you don't see it coming, let's just put it that way. One of the few times you see Vader without the mask, and man, it's one of my favorite backhands in comics ever. God, I love this page so much. But yes, it's a really good story. You'll be surprised by the ending too. Definitely didn't see it coming myself. But along with following up one of my favorite single issues of Star Wars, we're followed up by one of my favorite series of Star Wars Dark Times. And it follows this fallen Jedi, Ostrander, one of my favorite Jedis actually. Kind of reminds me of Kanan Jarrus actually. Him and his good buddy Bomo Greenbark used to be enemies. Now they're best of friends, so to speak. Highs and lows, that's for sure. I just wanted to highlight this page though because of its mirroring effect of the last meeting between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Just love that kind of parallel here. But I guess just to go back to Ostrander here, because he does fill a lot of these pages. It's his story. Yeah, being on the run. Yeah, both him and Bomo, they encounter these smugglers. They're on the ship. I always forget how it's called. The Uhemle or Uhum. Oh, jeez, I can't even do it. Uhumle. I think that's what it is. Anyways, yeah, he just befriends them, and yeah, they all have like-minded goals and whatnot. But boy, there are highs and there are extreme lows. We're talking like themes of prostitution, slavery, cannibalism, abuse of power. You'd be very surprised, like the kind of storytelling you're getting. Very mature, and I love how Doug Wheatley stays on board and gives it that consistency throughout it. Yeah, some other artists are throughout this book, but man, it's so good. You can't get over it. But yeah, Ostrander, having to deal with the morality aspect of no longer being a Jedi, and how that kind of conflicts with a lot of what he can do. It's a very interesting piece. Let's just put it that way. So very on point all around. Man, so good. Yeah, even that character Kreese, I miss her. Oh, yeah, that's right. They had a little bit of overlap with Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like if you remember Zane Carrick, you'll know what I'm talking about. But very on point. And yeah, as you can see, there's an evolution to characters, even the way Ostrander looks eventually in the story. This was the one where it kind of follows more of or should I say more, does an homage to Yojimbo, like the Kurosawa film. Very fitting considering Star Wars is a lot of Kurosawa in it. Even the way he looks is very similar to the character from Yojimbo. But anywho, that's a whole other thing, believe me. Aside from that, don't want to go too far, but the evolution of Ostrander is one of my favorites. As I said, I've mentioned that he's very similar to Kanan Jarrus. You'll kind of see the same kind of evolution here too. Very on point. And then I guess to wrap things up, Haden Blackman, he did 2 stories and then there was a third one by someone else, but this is his other story, The Ghost Prison, where there's a mutiny at the Imperial Academy. It follows this character, Lieutenant Tom. He's your vehicle through it, kind of a brown noser, but man, you're basically given a window seat to this mutiny going on to try and kill the Emperor kind of thing. Very unique story. And you're brought very interesting characters as well. Trukta, basically the pre-Vader Vader. Let's just put it that way. Very interesting character, very menacing. Let's just put it that way. But all in all, this is a definite strong package. Definitely worth the money, or just a quick once-over, that's for sure. If you can't come across it yourself, maybe reading it digital. But this is such a strong narrative overall. I can wholeheartedly recommend it. By the way, folks, if you haven't noticed, I haven't really done reviews too much because I feel that I would be out of place doing them. I am buying these books, which kind of tells you already how I feel about them. I really like them. Love this one. But it's not so much about me at this point. It's more about your opinion at the end of the day. And I wouldn't mind hearing yours in the comments down below. But hey, I'll see you guys in the next video either way. Y'all folks take care.